We're going to go live here in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Thank you. Before we start our Planning Advisory and Adjustment Committee meeting of Monday, April the 28th, 25, I'm going to read our Pembroke Land Acknowledgement Statement. As we gather today, I would respectfully acknowledge on behalf of the Council and the community that the City of Pembroke resides on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. It is with this statement that we honor and respect the Algonquins on whose land we reside. Now I'll call this meeting to order, and can we have approval of the agenda, please? Moved by Ian. Seconded, Marie Jose, all in favor. Thank you. Minutes of March the 24th having been circulated, can we have a motion to approve these minutes? Moved by Marcel, seconded by Ed. Are there any errors or omissions to the minutes that we're aware of? If not, all in favor of the minutes. Thank you very much. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll go on to new business now. For the one piece of new business is A2 2025 124 Woodcrest Drive, Brittany McClelland. Owen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the applicant, Brittany Cleland, has submitted a site plan for a proposed self-storage facility at 124 Woodcrest Drive. This property is zoned General Industrial M1 by the zoning bylaw, which includes the permitted use of self-storage facility. The submitted site plan meets all requirements of the M1 general provisions, save for that of minimum rear yard setback. The property backs onto a former rail corridor property, which is currently zoned open space OS by the zoning bylaw. This rear abutting OS zone triggers the requirement for a greater rear yard setback of 40 feet, as opposed to the standard rear yard setback in all other cases of 20 feet. Now, this the former rail line properties within the city of Pembroke were zoned OS under the comprehensive review for the current zoning bylaw, because there was a general idea at the time that these properties would become recreational trails. This envisioned use has not come to pass for different reasons, and as such, with no actual open space use of the abutting rear property, it can be viewed as both minor in nature and in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw to grant the requested relief from the greater setback requirement of 40 feet down to the standard of 20 feet that would apply in all other cases. This will allow for the applicant to maximize their proposed development of the property, which can be viewed as being consistent with the character of and desirable within the neighborhood, as the use is permitted by default and the same use already exists at neighboring 121 Woodcrest Drive. Regarding parking, our zoning bylaw requires 0.75 spaces per rentable storage unit. This formula can result in a high number of required parking spaces. Relief from this requirement was previously granted for self-storage facilities at 1200 Pembroke Street West in a site-specific zoning bylaw amendment, and at previously referenced neighboring 121 Woodcrest Drive, which was a minor variance. In these cases, relief was granted to permit one parking space per 120 square meters of non-residential floor area. This formula is actually used for local comparators in both the town of Petawawa and the town of Renfrew's zoning bylaws. And that's their default requirement. In the case of this application, the relief being requested is slightly greater, with a total number of 5 required parking spaces being proposed. Due to anticipated traffic being generated by the self-storage facility being expected to be both low volume and sporadic, this relief can be viewed as minor in nature and again consistent with the character of and desirable within the neighborhood. Further on parking requirements, the zoning bylaw also has parking surface area provisions. that essentially requires each parking area and driveway connecting a parking area with a street to be fully paved with an asphalt or concrete surface and with provisions for drainage facilities. So on the proposed site plan, the first 15 meters from the front of the property line is shown as paved asphalt, with the remainder of it being crushed asphalt. Now, for referring back to the minor variance for 121 Woodcrest Drive, the direct neighbor that was granted in 2023, this same relief was requested for this property, but relief from full paving was only granted to the extent of the same as in this case, the first 15 meters from the property line, but also they were required to pave an access lane loop running in parallel with the property lines. This was due to the operations department expressing concern regarding runoff carrying granular materials from the proposed gravel portion of the parking area into adjacent drainage ditches and easements. In the case of this application, the operations department has confirmed that the same concern does not apply because on the proposed site plan, in this case, the buildings of the development will immediately abut the property lines, and their proposed access lane loop will be located inwards from the buildings, with the buildings functioning as the preventative measure against runoff. So as such, this requested relief for this application can be viewed as being minor in nature, meeting the intent of the zoning bylaw and being desirable and compatible with the character of the neighborhood. Regarding the official plan, the property is designated industrial by Schedule A of the official plan, and the proposed development is very much in keeping with the intent of the plan, as it refers to the industrial classification of land, means the predominant use of land in the area so designated shall be for industrial uses, including, and it specifies directly, storage. Further from the official plan requires site plan control, essentially, and the city having a site plan control bylaw in place since the late 80s, designating the entire area of the city of Pembroke as a site plan control area means that this proposed development will be subject to site plan control. This process will ensure that the final site design is fully compliant with all applicable requirements of the city. So this includes ingress and egress, access lanes, and parking requirements. The original proposed site plan that was included on the notice of application has already been revised, resulting from initial comments of the operations department. And for this reason, I have included in your agenda packages the revised site plan. And further revisions may occur during the design phase, subject to their being compliant with applicable zoning bylaw provisions and any relief that the committee grants from this application. So this will all be ensured during the site plan approval process. Lastly, the provincial planning statement of 2024 states that planning authorities shall promote economic development and competitiveness by providing an appropriate mix and range of uses to meet long-term needs, identifying strategic sites for investment, and encouraging intensification of employment uses. And as in the case of this application, we are proposing to intensify an economic use in an existing employment area. This application is completely consistent with the current provincial planning statement. And therefore, the planning department is recommending that the committee approve this minor variance application for 124 Woodcrest Drive to grant relief from minimum rear yard setback, minimum number of parking spaces required, and parking surface area requirements for a self-storage facility in a general industrial zone.
Thank you, Owen. Were any submissions received regarding this application?
No submissions nor inquiries were received from the general public. We do have the applicant Brittany Cleland is present via Zoom to represent the application tonight.
Good, thank you. Would you like to speak, please, to the application?
Yeah, for sure. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to briefly elaborate on Oh, I feel like my bandwidth is really bad where I am right now. To elaborate on the 3 points that Owen has presented. So briefly, so reducing the setback to the 20 feet gives us the space needed for functional building layout and better vehicle circulation on site. And the 5 parking spaces are more than enough for occasional visitor parking. Most customers will drive directly to their units and park adjacent to their doors. It's very rare that a tenant will park at the office unless they need something. We do have another storage facility actually near the Toronto area. So we've kind of put all of our issues that we've ever had in our own facility at the facility that we plan on putting up in Pembroke as well. So we've learned what works and what doesn't work. And then just the paving at the front, we understand we have to follow protocol with the bylaws, which is completely fine. Paving just the entrance keeps the front clean and safe, while gravel and crushed asphalt on the property where the buildings will be placed for the tenants. It's better for drainage to have gravel and crushed asphalt. It's because it's also such a low traffic nature, and storage facilities typically are, using asphalt just doesn't work, especially we know this. We have gravel at our other facility, and drainage just works so much better when you have gravel that water can seep into. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or any comments regarding this from, yes, Ian?
Frankly, I couldn't have written this report better myself. With respect to the three issues, I mean, I'm usually one that's quite keen on making sure that we have parking. But I would have to agree with the report and with Brittany that this is a storage facility. It's not a, you know, it's not a mall or even a restaurant or something. I would imagine, Brittany, the vast majority of your clients, if not all of them, do not attend at their storage units on a daily basis. So, I mean, our normal commercial rules and expectations for parking, that's just not logical for a self-storage place. With respect to the setbacks, I can appreciate why for an open space, you know, we would not have wanted to envision, you know, a giant industrial building butting up against a park. But of course, as the report noted, as far as I know, this is still an unused former rail bed at the moment. Due to the sale of certain aspects of it, it's unlikely to become a trail of any sort. So in that regard, you know, again, if this open space was a park or something that's usually open space, the 20 meter setback, the 20 foot setback, I mean, that would make sense in normal scenarios. But in this scenario, as our planner pointed out in the report, you know, this is, by the looks of it, it's just going to stay a former old rail bed at this point, given how it's being chopped up. I don't know what use you would make of this thin corridor going through now that it doesn't connect to everything. And then with respect to the gravel, I have no problem with that. Brittany, I fully accept and agree with your assessment that certainly when it comes to storm drainage and whatnot, it's probably actually preferable that we stop paving this earth as much as we are. So I certainly agree with that recommendation. I understood why we did it the last time, but I accept our operations view that as long as we have the paving in areas where the asphalt and whatnot is not going to seep into our storm sewer system or whatnot, that we can deal with the minimum of paving. And I also support that from a business friendly perspective. Obviously, it's going to be a lot cheaper if you don't need to pave the entire yard. And when there's no reason to pave the entire yard, that's also good for you from a business and costing perspective. So, Mr. Chair, I'd happily move that we accept the recommendation from the planning report.
Thank you, Ian. Do we have a seconder to that motion? Yes, thank you. Any further comments? Yes.
I have a question for Ms. Clalland with regards to, I looked at the Google map aerial view, and it looks like it's got some I don't know if they can be called trees, but the greenery at the back for the 20-foot, the 20-foot setback. And I wanted to know what your plan is for this, for this greenery. I know there's no foreseeable plan to use the trail as a trail.
Right.
But yeah, just hearing your thoughts.
Yeah, so I actually haven't been able to see the property because it is so overgrown at the moment. I think it took us a really long time to get a survey because they couldn't get it staked out properly. Idealistically, I'd like to keep trees as much as possible. My dad is obviously a developer and likes to not have as much greenery, but where we can keep trees on property, I will. And obviously where it just doesn't work for us, we'll have to remove them. But even our other storage facility, we back onto a farmer's field. All of the trees are actually behind our fence line, even like our fencing, even though it is technically our fence line, we just fenced kind of in front of them. So when we get to that point, when I actually can see what trees we're working with and what the lot line looks like and versus the 20 feet, we'll work with the department to make sure what needs to be kept can be kept and what should actually go can go.
Yeah, thank you for that. It is appreciated. I am in support. I was in support anyway of your application. It makes sense, and I agree with everything that's in the report. But to the extent that you can, I think it would be appreciated if you could keep as much greenery as is possibly feasible.
Trust me, I'm very good about trees, and so is my mom. My dad has been a developer for decades, and we fight him a lot about keeping trees on property. So where I can make my stance and keep my ground, I will definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Further comments? All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, past decision update. Owen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So at our last committee meeting of March 24th, 2 applications were heard, 2 zoning bylaw amendments, one for 730 Cecilia Street and one for 570 Elmira Street. Both proceeded with favorable recommendations from this committee to public meetings of council on April 1st. Council then passed both applications as bylaws on April 15th. The final date of appeal for both is May 7th. So we are currently within the mandated 20-day appeal period.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, May the 26th. Everyone sort of in agreement with that date? Yes, good, thank you. So can we have a motion then to adjourn? Moved by Ed, seconded by Jose, all in favor. Let's go home.